in Superbike these 37 years from 1988 has brought us unbelievable racing, and I've been part of it as a rider, and now in this position in the championship, but especially it's to thank everyone that made this possible happen: fans, riders, manufacturers, everyone involved. I think it's a moment to enjoy, and let's hope that this historic race as well is bringing exciting racing.
Oh, let's hope for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, I don't think there's much doubt, and if there was any doubt, then the conditions almost guarantee us a good race coming up, so plenty to look forward to here as we complete the third row of the grid with Alex Lowes. Remember, he was 12th in Superpole, his worst since Cremona, but of those outside the top 9 originally, he's best placed to make some progress in this one. He rode to a strong 6th place yesterday and obviously promoted on up the grid after those withdrawals. This is row number 4, Dominic Egerton, Bahattin Sofoglu and Ryan Vickers. And again, for those outside of the top 9 places, an opportunity to make further progress for their race 2 starting position. And for those in the lower order, the best chances that they're going to get in a Superpole race over just 10 laps, because it's notoriously difficult to get into the top 9, but we are down a few riders. It's a 19-rider grid now. 9 of them will score. We've got 10 laps to settle it. It is World SBK's 1,000th race. In his 58 Superbike starts, Nicolo Bulliger has finished second to Toprak Razgatlioglu no less than 23 times, 11 times this season, including 8 of the last 10 races. He's still only beaten by Toprak this season, but it just seems to be getting tougher for Bulliger not to lose points. Yesterday he was 6th after the opening lap, and he didn't get up to 2nd until lap 7. Razgatlioglu has won the last 3 Tissot Superpole races, 5 of the 7 all told in 2025. It would be a major surprise if he didn't add another here. So it's up to Bulliger to make sure he beats the likes of Sam Lowes and Alvaro Bautista. And for that, he may well need a better start to this one. Alex Raby and Steve English for World SBK's 1,000th race. Toprak Razgatlioglu certainly the favourite to take home the one-off trophy that's on ice. Bulliger so efficient in damage limitation this season, as I've said. He's got his work cut out here at the Balaton Park circuit.
Yeah, certainly. And just looking at the tyre sheet from Pirelli already, you can see a few differences from what we've been given as information-wise. We were told slicks for Bulliger. We can see a shot of intermediates on the rear anyway, so we'll keep an eye on that for Nicola Bulliger. The intermediate usually has a white band in the middle of it on the front, so we'll be able to spot that one. The front runners all out there on slicks. Axel Bassani's an interesting rider to keep an eye out on. He's got an intermediate front and a slick rear, and that could well be a good combination.
Axel Bassani coming through from the 6th row of the grid. Worth it when you're stranded as far back as that to try and take a gamble, because it's the top 9 places that are all important here.
Petrucci's out there with intermediates front and rear, so we'll keep an eye on Danilo. Always one of the better riders in wet conditions, but it's always interesting whenever we've got the complete lottery now of what everyone decides to do. But for all these riders making their way around, this is their chance to be able to figure it out.
It does look like there's quite a dry line starting to emerge, but it's a very narrow band around the circuit, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really is. And for the riders, they've had a 15-minute warm-up session. That was in full wet conditions. And now they've got the chance for a 10-lap Superpole race where they really have to push and find that limit right from the get-go.
So, a reminder of the championship standings. It's Toprak Razgatlioglu who leads the way on 370 points. He's 9 up on Nicolo Bulliger. Danilo Petrucci 3rd in the standings, 10 points ahead of Alvaro Bautista. 3 Ducatis in the top 4 in the championship standings. Big manufacturers news this weekend. Kawasaki were, of course, due to be celebrating their 1,000th race this morning, and they're the only manufacturer to have appeared in every race until now. Ducati missed race 2 of the 2013 Turkish round. Honda missed 4 in 93 and 1 in 2003. Yamaha 4th on the all-time appearance records. But as it turns out, none of our manufacturers are going to reach 1,000 until this afternoon because of the withdrawal of Kawasaki's lone bike on the grid this season for Garrett Gerloff today. Toprak Razgatlioglu, the undoubted favourite for this 1,000th World SBK race, and history on his side when it comes to these milestones. World SBK 800 was his first race win. Race 1 at the 2019 French round. Came through from 16th on the grid, past Jonathan Ray on the last lap, and that was one of the all-time classics. Also won the 900th. It was race 1 of the 2022 Indonesian round. So the 800th with Kawasaki, the 900th with Yamaha, and a possible 1000th with BMW before he departs to MotoGP at the end of this season. The Tissot SuperpoleRace, the first here at the Balaton Park circuit, is World SBK's 1000th race, and it gets underway with a flying start for Toprak Razgatlioglu from pole. Decent jump as well from Andrea Locatelli. He moves in front of Sam Lowes, who's got the inside line into turn 1. They tiptoe their way through there after the rains earlier on today. It's damp conditions. 4th position for Danilo Petrucci. Steady start for Nicolo Bulliger. We've made it through turn 2 successfully. That's crucial after the big 7-rider pile-up we had there yesterday. Jonathan Rea making some decent progress. He's already into 6th position. Comes under attack though from Xavi Vierque. He's bumped off the racing line, and that's really where you don't want to be, off the racing line. Yeah, and you can see here down in 5 is Lowe's going to be able to try and make a move. There was knee sliders come off one rider there. That's what we saw flying. Sam Lowes trying the cutback now with Andrea Locatelli in front of him. Petrucci pushing hard in those early stages. Jonathan Rea rejoined the racing line, but all the way down in 12th position, and that's a real shame for him, having made good progress early on from 8th position on the grid. He was up to 6th. Petrucci's doing a good job with the intermediate tyres, but look at Bulliger, he's already getting backed up. This is costing him a lot of points because the slick riders are doing a good job at this stage of the race, and they're only going to get faster and faster as they get more and more heat into those tyres. Alvaro Bautista in front of Nicolo Bulliger, who's going to lose another place here. Jari Montella comes through on the inside. Alex Lowes is clambering all over the back of him. Bulliger at this stage of the race has no confidence whatsoever, and it's only a 10-lap sprint, remember. This is massive for Bulliger, giving up potentially 12 points because he's on the wrong tyres right now. Egerton through now. Bulliger's outside of the points altogether, down in 10th position, ahead of Ryan Vickers and Jonathan Rea. Watch the leaders now, swarming around those podium places as Danilo Petrucci tries to cut between Sam Lowes and Andrea Locatelli, and he's done so nicely. Petrucci, who started 5th on the grid, is now up into P2 and can think about attacking the tail of Toprak Razgatlioglu. Race for 3rd position as well. Sam Lowes versus Andrea Locatelli. It was for 2nd early on. It's now for the final step on the rostrum, and behind Alvaro Bautista, lurking now on the tail of Xavi Vierque. Top 6 in one group going together, separated by 0.8 of a second. Just for Petrucci, if he gets to the front, the intermediates can hold together very well. We saw that with Scott Redding in Aragon a few years ago, that you can make them work, and it's just about making sure you're able to get to the front. So it's Razgatlioglu, Petrucci, Locatelli, Sam Lowes, Xavi Vierque, Alvaro Bautista, your group of 6, and Jari Montella going with them as well. Alex Lowes being dropped off slightly in 8th, Dominic Egerton in 9th, and Nicolo Bulliger still hasn't found his way back into the points as yet. Petrucci trying the inside line. Razgatlioglu sweeps across his bows, holds on to P1 for the moment at least. Yeah, and Toprak took a big look to his left coming down the straight in towards turn 5. He's looking at the big screen to see who's around them. Locatelli struggling here to hold off Sam Lowes. Lowes has got to get through now because Xavi Vierque and Alvaro Bautista are menacing as well. Bautista alongside Vierque will turn across his path. He's lucky Vierque's somewhat compliant. Lowes gets through on Locatelli as well. Locatelli's offline, and that allows Bautista through. Might allow Vierque through as well. Elbows out from Locatelli to at least defend that 5th place. Big moment for Xavi Vierque. And when you drop off the racing line for a moment, that's where it's slippery. Dominic Egerton coming through now onto the tail of Jari Montella and Alex Lowes. Contact between Montella and Vierge, and then Montella and Alex Lowes on the run down in towards turn 12. So Alex Lowes into 7th place, Dominic Egerton 8th, Xavi Vierque 9th, and still no progress for Nicolo Bulliger. He's around about a second behind those points-paying positions as Xavi Vierque starts to recover. That's 8th place now for him. Alvaro Bautista eyeing up the final step of the podium. Sam Lowes, of course, had a crash yesterday from a podium position, and Bautista now will see what kind of pace he's got as we begin lap number 3. Toprak Razgatlioglu, fastest of them last time around. That's why he's managed to break away. Half a second clear of Danilo Petrucci. Sam Lowes, 0.4 of a second back from him. 0.3 then the gap to Alvaro Bautista. Interesting for Lowes is that once he managed to get through, he picked up 0.3 of a second on Toprak in the second half of the lap. Jonathan Rea we saw running wide there into turn 1. He manages to rejoin, but he's dropped another couple of places since we last saw him. He's down in 14th place. Petrucci is now your race leader ahead of Sam Lowes, and Toprak Razgatlioglu has dropped to 3rd in the opening sector of lap number 3. See, the riders are finding some grip on the inside of the straight there, where it's managed to dry quicker. Sam Lowe's now cutting his way through on Petrucci. So it's Lowe's, it's Petrucci, it's Razgatlioglu, it's Bautista, covered by just 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, so much confidence there for Lowe's. We saw last time around he bundled his way through on Locatelli like he had to do, but that move on Petrucci, able to keep that cool head. And for Razgatlioglu, he needs to try and collect himself now to give himself the chance just to steady the ship. His main rival, Bulaga, is 11th, completely out of this one. So for Toprak, it's about trying to keep a cool head. And you've still got lots of racing left in this one, 7.5 laps.
And Alvaro Bautista will know that, because it's been rare that it hasn't been either Razgatlioglu or Bulaga winning races this season. But there's an opportunity for the rest of the field in this one.
This is a big opportunity for Sam Lowe's. Look at the gap that's already open between him and Petrucci. Petrucci with the intermediate tyres just doesn't have the grip and speed. He's doing a really good job to get himself up to P2, put himself into the lead. But once you're up against those slicks, if they've got enough dry track to be able to build that temperature, you just can't really match their speed.
So it's a sort of 2 races in one scenario. They're going to come back to one another as well later on. This is lap number 4 now getting underway. Sam Lowe's 1.4 seconds ahead of Danilo Petrucci. Alvaro Bautista looks faster than Petrucci, hasn't yet been able to find a way through. Locatelli has managed to close them down. Petrucci is holding up Bautista and Razgatlioglu behind him at this stage.
Yeah, and you can see this gap opening up 2 seconds now for Sam out in front. So Petrucci, he's the cork in the bottle right now. Look at Bautista and how much faster he looks. Look at Toprak in this part of the track, all over the back of Bautista as well.
Well, Alvaro Bautista made light work of Toprak Razgatlioglu, but it's Ducati versus Ducati for second position here, and Bautista only now pulls alongside Danilo Petrucci. Has the inside, you can see it's the drier part of the circuit as well. Petrucci tries to turn in, but there's nowhere to go, and that's going to allow Razgatlioglu to come back through into the podium places also, and Razgatlioglu might now think about an attack on Alvaro Bautista for second place. All of this scrapping is 1.9 seconds down on race leader Sam Lowe's, but it could be critical later on. Bautista now has clear track in front of him, and Toprak Razgatlioglu behind him.
Yeah, the one thing about it is Lowe's has been fast all weekend, first or second in every session it seemed, and he's got that confidence, he's got that gap, and he's been really consistent with his pace this weekend. You don't want to give him a 2-second head start when he's been as confident as he has been this week.
Behind them, Danilo Petrucci now struggling to hold on against Andrea Locatelli. Look at the closing speed for Locatelli. He's gone off the circuit through the gravel trap. He will rejoin successfully, and that's no mean feat, but he will have cost himself a couple of positions and a little bit of time there as well. So that's Vierke through to 5th, that's Alex Lowe's up to 6th, and Andrea Locatelli down to 7th.
It was a gamble worth taking for Petrucci. For Bulaga to go the opposite to Toprak, you have to make it work. On the grid, Taz McKenzie changed from intermediates to slicks. He's up there in P10 now behind Ryan Vickers. So the gamble didn't really work out for the intermediate riders right now. Petrucci's making it work. Alex Lowe's making work as well up there in P6. Bassani, though, with that slick rear and the intermediate front, that's probably the best balance between them. He's come from, what, 20th on the grid.
Sam Lowe's then leading the way by 1.6 seconds now. 10th of a second faster than Alvaro Bautista last lap around. Toprak Razgatlioglu still right with Bautista, and possibly the main threat to Razgatlioglu at the moment is being held at bay by Alvaro, who occupies that second place.
And you can see for Toprak now, is he going to be brave enough not at this stage into there? You can see how narrow you have to go in the line. The reason for that is just where the camber is on the track. It's just pushing all the dry line into the inside.
Yeah, there is a drying line on the outside as well, but in the middle there's a sort of wet strip that the riders are all trying to avoid, so it's quite an unusual situation into there.
Petrucci's doing well here to keep these riders at bay. We know how good he is in the wet conditions.
Toprak Razgatlioglu attacks the tail of Alvaro Bautista. Bautista has visibly been holding him back, but not for much longer. Razgatlioglu is through and clear on lap number 5, and now the hunt begins. 1.5 seconds, the gap to race leader Sam Lowe.
Half a second faster than Lowe's already on this lap. It was 2/10 in the first sector, 3/10 in the second sector for Toprak.
Alvaro Bautista then has just got to stick with Toprak Razgatlioglu for as long as possible. Try to force an error in the remainder, but Bautista looking good for a podium here. He's 2.5 seconds clear of Xavi Vierke in 4th position. Then it's Petrucci now dropping back to 5th place ahead of Locatelli, who's recovered against Alex Lowe.
Good to see this from Bautista though again today. Qualified okay yesterday on the 3rd row of the grid, obviously with Ian Oney. He's elevated to the 2nd row. Raced well yesterday to finish with the podium spot. But again, in this race, he's been able to make a good start. He's put himself in a position to fight it out. He'll be a real contender for race 2.
And barring incident, this will be the first time this season that he's beaten Nicolo Bulaga. Bulaga's down in 12th place, and he's set to fail to score.
Toprak a second faster than Lowe's last time around, and he's bridged that gap down to half a second.
We're looking at a change of race leader by the end of this lap number 6. Sam Lowes has bolted, but Toprak Razgatlioglu, we saw he was able to make the pass on similarly matched Alvaro Bautista. He is hunting down Sam Lowes at a real rate of knots here.
Yeah, sometimes whenever you've made a late decision on the grid, you could still end up with a slightly softer bike compared to what you want with the slick tyres out there, and maybe a situation like that for some of the bikes. But for Lowes, you're still out in front, but Toprak hunting him down, and we've been able to see how quickly he's bridged that gap.
Real opportunity for redemption here for Sam Lowes after his crashes in the last 2 races, both from podium positions. He'll be desperate to get on the rostrum this morning, but he's also not going to give up on a race victory without a fight. There's still 4 laps to go after this one, though, and look at the closing speed of Toprak Razgatlioglu, setting new fastest sector after new fastest sector. More than half a second gained on this lap 6 already. He's now right on the tail of Sam Lowes. This one is just a matter of time. Watch out for turn 15 on lap 6. This is going to be the best opportunity Toprak Razgatlioglu has had so far to reassume that race lead and potentially take a 12-point swing in his favour in the context of the championship overall. Sam Lowes struggling to get the power down, but Toprak Razgatlioglu held at bay for now.
Yeah, and Razgatlioglu so fast, second faster last time around, and
Lowes with a bit of an error, a bit of a bobble there. Razgatlioglu not close enough, and it's a tight section those final few turns, so no opportunity to come past. Might give him the run though into turn 1. Start of lap number 7. Toprak will try in one of the 3 heaviest braking zones here at the Balaton Park circuit to make his move on Sam Lowes, and he stopped it successfully. Toprak Razgatlioglu leads on lap 7 of World SBK's 1000th race.
Yeah, Sam tried to lean into Toprak a little bit there into turn 1 just to show that he wasn't going to be cowering into it, but for Razgatlioglu able to make the move, once you're alongside like that, as long as you hit that apex into turn 1, the rider in front can do nothing about it. But in these conditions, it's not the usual Toprak attack, because you just don't have that level of grip.
Sam Lowes sticking right with Razgatlioglu after that turn move has been made.
Let's see what Sam can do into the next of the chicanes. Yesterday in the dry conditions into 9 and 10, he was actually really strong in that change of direction.
He's going to give it everything for a race victory, but he is going to have in the back of his mind the 2 lost podiums in his 2 most recent races, particularly as Toprak Razgatlioglu begins to break away. 4/10 of a second now, that gap between them on lap number 7.
Yeah, it's a good bounce back from Sam at this stage, and up against Toprak, you just have to try and stick with him as much as you can. And for Lowes, last time out in Donington Park, he saw in those opening few laps what you're up against with Toprak and how he can almost goad you into a mistake just by trying to run into those deep braking corners. But for Lowes, you're now trying to just give yourself the chance to be able to grow in this one and try and see what you can learn as much as anything else. But staying with Toprak only half a second.
Opportunity for Razgatlioglu to score 12 World Championship points here, and it's looking like a non-score for Nicolo Bulliger, who has no speed and no confidence in the late 1 minute 44s, down in 12th position and being harried by Dominic Egerter. And for Nicolo Bulliger, this is going to be another costly Superpole race. Remember, he lost 12 points in Misano at the Emilia-Romagna round in the Superpole race there. These two scrapping with one another, already well back from those points-paying positions. It's, 7 seconds that Bulliger needs to find, and I'm afraid that's not going to happen barring incident ahead.
We're having changes in front as well. You can see the time turn on the left-hand side of the screen. Alex Lowes has dropped outside the top 10. That's with the intermediate tyre. Petrucci's at the front of the group with Vickers and McKenzie behind him, and Petrucci's going to have a very tough last 3 laps to hold on to a top 9 spot.
Yeah, Petrucci on the 3rd row of the grid as things stand. Alex Lowes battling with Taz McKenzie. This is for a World Championship point, but perhaps even more importantly, for a place on the 3rd row of the grid this afternoon. McKenzie started this race in P17, so it's particularly vital for him. And look at Jonathan Ray lurking as well. If he can get through on Alex Lowes, there's a chance for him to make some progress into the top 9.
He should be able to come through on Lowes with the slick tyres up against the intermediates.
And Petrucci struggling to hold back Ryan Vickers here for 7th place. Jonathan Ray outside of the points. This is Andrea Locatelli attacking on the tail of Xavi Vieque. The two of them evenly matched last time around. Locatelli's pulled back a couple of tenths on this lap, 8 so far. Behind them, Axel Bassani in 6th. Then it's Petrucci holding back Vickers, and Jonathan Ray now clear of Alex Lowes. And Lowes is not going to be able to make the top 9 this morning. And a rare struggle in the Superpole race, a victim of circumstances here.
Yeah, Lowes had a big look over his shoulder. He knows that realistically he's not going to be able to get himself into those top 9 spots, and it just doesn't have the right tyre underneath him.
Ryan Vickers with an opportunity to take his best result yet in World SBK. He was 10th in the Superpole race in Assen. Obviously no points available for that, but his 8th position here has now's got to fend off Taz McKenzie, who's fast closing behind him, while he's being held up by Danilo Petrucci. Petrucci with a great defensive ride here, with 2 laps to go. Can he hold on inside those top 9 positions? The risk to Petrucci is not these two men. Vickers and McKenzie are coming through. The risk to Petrucci is Jonathan Rea behind. Here comes Taz McKenzie then. 2 places gained in 1 move. Petrucci is trying to battle for all he's worth, manages to hold the racing line. Back to the inside now for the change of direction at turn 2. Vickers is through into 7th position. Petrucci 8th, but not for much longer. Here come McKenzie and Rea.
Yeah, and Rea, with all that battling in front of him, it's brought him right up there with them. So Petrucci, a lap and a half to try and hold him off, and Taz showed into turn 1 he was going to be able to try and make a move. He's going to do the same down into 5.
Brief look over his shoulder there from Danilo Petrucci to see that Taz McKenzie is alongside him. Petrucci preferring the inside line, as he has throughout this race. We're watching Ryan Vickers here. They were side by side, Petrucci and McKenzie into the last turn. Which of them has taken the position? It is still Petrucci in front of McKenzie. 4P8, Jonathan Rea right with them. Petrucci holding on valiantly here, you've got to say. 1.5 laps still to go.
Yeah, Petrucci doing everything he can. We know how combative Danilo is, but you're fighting a losing battle when you're on those inters, but trying to hold on as much as he can for that 3rd row of the grid.
Yeah, all important for race 2 this afternoon. This is Locatelli Vierke. So Andrea Locatelli is now up ahead of Xavi Vierke and into 4th position. Axel Bassani directly behind them on circuit in 6th place, and your fight to the finish is going to be Petrucci, McKenzie and Rea for the 3rd and final row on the race 2 grid.
And that's where, for Axel, using that slick front has worked out really. Sorry, the intermediate front and the slick rear has worked out perfectly for him. He's got that mix and match between them, and it's probably the best of both worlds.
Yes, had enough pace in the early stages to make a lot of progress, and now he's got enough pace to hold on at this stage of the race. Final lap with Toprak Razgatlioglu setting a new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 40.649, and look how that compares. It's only a second off the fastest lap of the race from yesterday. Jonathan Rea bundling through down the inside of Danilo Petrucci into the final lap. It's for the last spot on the 3rd row of the grid, a World Championship point, and Danilo Petrucci down to 10th. A little bit of bad luck for him this weekend once again.
Yeah, well, for Danilo at the top 5 yesterday and did a great job to come back through the field. He opted for the intermediate tyres, and very clearly that's the wrong decision to have made today, but you've also got to make a gamble on the grid, because it could have just as easily been the gamble that pays off. And you know, down the road we had the Lawson gamble famously with slicks in the wet, and for Danilo opting for the intermediate tyres just didn't work out for him.
We're watching Sam Lowes here. He's going to ride a safe 2nd place home now. 2 seconds, as we said, the gap to Toprak Razgatlioglu at the head of the field. Toprak's just got to safely negotiate the final few turns, this chicane and 1 more. But it is Razgatlioglu who ultimately kept his powder dry in those early laps before surging through to the front, the 2nd half of the race, and he has dominated from there. Razgatlioglu will extend his winning run that dates back to race 1 of the Emilia-Romagna round. He won your 800th, he won your 900th. He's going to win with a 3rd different manufacturer your 1000th World SBK race. Toprak Razgatlioglu wins at the Balaton Park circuit. Sam Lowes 2nd, and Alvaro Bautista will exit the final turn to complete the podium in 3rd. That's the first time that Bautista has beaten his teammate Nicolo Bulliger this season. Bulliger will be scoreless in the Superpole race. 4th goes to Andrea Locatelli ahead of Xavi Vierke. Great result in the end for Axel Bassani. Right choice from him in terms of tyres. Ryan Vickers with his best World SBK result yet. Same for Taz McKenzie behind him. Jonathan Rea takes the last step on the 3rd row of the grid for race 2 this afternoon and the last World Championship point. So missing out on points here this morning. Petrucci, Egerter, Alex Lowes, Nicolo Bulliger, Bahatin Safoglu, Michael van der Mark, Michael Ruben Rinaldi and Zakwan Zaidi, your only 17 finishers in that Superpole race. It's been a weekend of attrition so far, but that's going to be another of those key moments in the title race. 12-point swing in favour of Toprak Razgatlioglu.
Yeah, and this is the first of those swings that you can point a bit of a finger to Bulliger. The other one's 2 technical failures in Assen. Obviously, it's a team sport, and you have to win and lose the team, but 2 technicals for him in Assen. The Bassani incident as well at Misano, but this is one where they've opted for the wrong decision on the tyres, and that's a team and rider decision.
As I said earlier on, he won the 800th race in World SBK on a Kawasaki. He won the 900th race with Yamaha. He's won the 1000th with BMW, and with him throughout was Phil Marron.
I am here with Phil, and Phil just congratulated every single member of the team here. Phil, you were there for when he won the 800 race, you're there for the 900, now for the 1000. How does it feel?
Yeah, as you say, congratulate everybody. It's a big team effort, so yeah, everybody deserves the credit, but seeing this animal get all his victories, and it's a pleasure to be along for the ride.
I'll still race later today, but enjoy this one while you can.
Thanks very much.
To be along for the ride as though he doesn't play a part in those successes. Modest man is Phil, but great combination that the two of them make.
Anthony did say to me that on the grid, after they were doing the pictures, Phil was very nervous to get Toprak back to the bike as quickly as possible. He needed to talk to his rider, they needed to decide on the strategy, they needed to pick the tyres, and certainly it was back in time to be able to make the right call.
Much as it's sort of a statistical milestone more than anything else, you do also feel that there was a little bit of nerves today about getting it right, more than just beyond the track conditions. That 1000th race does seem to have put everyone on edge a little bit.
Just you can see there, Sam Lowe's did actually lose the wing. That must have been that bit of contact on lap 1 with Locatelli down in towards turn 5, because we saw something fly off. I didn't notice the wing. I thought it was a knee slider at the time, but a little bit of damage done to his bike there. But yeah, it is one of those situations where the nerves build up, and I think especially because we're at a new place where everyone then didn't really understand what the track would be like, the conditions or the grip level, and there was a lot of question marks. And you have to say, for everyone here at Balaton Park Circuit, they've been able to do a great job up to this point in the weekend, but this was a massive test for them to have a wet weather race with the Superbike class out there. They've been able to show that the track surface is really good, and that everything's been able to work out well.
Yes, and I think the track surface question, the point of that proven by the pace that Toprak was able to set with his fastest lap of the race on lap 9.
Yeah, only 2 seconds slower than we went yesterday, and that's with all those damn patches out there.
So the riders making their way back in to celebrate, and Sam Lowe's back on the podium. As I said, I'm sure he would have dearly loved to hold on for the race victory, but that wasn't available to him today. And he smartly brought home the 2nd place, and that's an important one after those 3 retirements in the last 4 races for Sam.
Yeah, really important to be able to come away with that result, and they've had the speed all the way through this weekend, so a very well-deserved podium and a great performance. He got himself into the lead, then he just got hunted down by Toprak, and sometimes you get beaten by the faster rider on the day, but you have to put yourself in a position to be able to win races. Sam's done that a few times now.
Yeah, frankly, at the last round he was there with Toprak, wasn't he? He started that Superpole race really strongly, just didn't quite have enough to hold on. Did well, though, to pull away from Alvaro Bautista, and in the end you rather feel that Bautista brought home a safe 3rd place as well, just to keep that podium momentum going.
Yeah, and for Alvaro it's a really good performance as well, and Sam and Toprak have been the 2 top riders here this weekend, really, and Bautista's been able to come away with 2 podiums, and more importantly than anything else, a front row start for race 2, Bulaga all the way down on the 4th row of the grid. So for Bautista, he'll view it that if it's dry this afternoon, he's a real chance to win a race. Yeah,
key for Bautista is to still be ahead of Bulaga by the time they get to sort of lap 7 or 8, because that's when from there onwards he's got the pace to match Bulaga this weekend. We saw that in race 1 yesterday.
Yeah, and he said yesterday that all he could do was try and keep his pace and try and give the challenge to Bulaga and almost try and force a mistake, be there to take advantage of a mistake. And certainly for him, it's just one of those things that, again, ticks another box for him and gives you a bit of momentum going into the summer break.
Yes, the box that he ticks is beating his teammate Nicolo Bulaga for the first time this season. Obviously, I'm excluding the retirements for Bulaga there, but when the 2 of them have finished, Bulaga has otherwise generally been, well, not generally, he's otherwise, other than the retirements, been 1st and 2nd in every race until today. An anomaly, obviously, with the conditions, but a costly anomaly as far as Bulaga's championship hopes are concerned.
Yeah, 21 points now to Toprak. Now, obviously, we have seen everyone hit some trouble at different times this season, but Toprak's got a buffer now, and considering that he'll be very confident now of being able to do a 3rd consecutive hat-trick, that he'll think that the momentum is all very much in his favour, going to some circuits that he likes. Magny-Cours, we know he's going to be strong there. He's always good there. It's where he had his first win. Aragon's a question mark. Estoril and Jerez, we know that he's good there too.
Let's go through your race results and championship standings then. Toprak Razgatlioglu wins by 2.8 seconds over Sam Lowe's. Alvaro Bautista 4.4 seconds back, completes the podium. Personal best lap on the last lap from Andrea Locatelli, who got through on Xavi Vierque and was able to defend a 0.2 of a second advantage to the line. Honda Man up in P5 has got to be satisfied with that. Obviously the team without Iker Lecuona for the rest of the weekend, so Vierque doing the scoring for Honda in the Manufacturers' Championship as well. Axel Bassani, top motor, right choice on tyres from him, completed or will complete the second row of the grid for race 2 now this afternoon. Bit of an unusual look to the rest of the scorers, with Ryan Vickers up there in the points for the first time in the Superpole race, his best result yet in World SBK, and Taz McKenzie confirming a strong and promising weekend, his first obviously with Bonovo since his mid-season switch. Jonathan Ray is the last of the point scorers, and as for what that does in the championship, Steve's already said it, 21 points is the margin for Razgat Lioglu over Bulliga. Now it was 9 points before that race, so he's more than doubled the slender lead. Danilo Petrucci third. His advantage now to Alvaro Bautista is only 3 points, and his advantage to Andrea Locatelli is only 13. So it's closing right up for third place. That's as a result of Petrucci finishing outside of the points in this morning's Superpole race.
Yeah, and for Petrucci, the decision to use the inters, it looked like he was going to make it work in those early laps, but you knew straight away that if the slick riders are able to run with the intermediates in those early laps, that really for Petrucci it was always going to be a case of just trying to limit the damage. And unfortunately for him, he just dropped out of the top 9, and those front 3 rows of the grid.
First time he hasn't scored in a race since the Superpole race in Assen, so he's been consistent. That's been his calling card in his battle against Bautista, but Bautista is the faster of the two, and it looks like there's an opportunity for him in race 2 this afternoon to move back into that bronze medal position.
A lot of emotion in this race.
So celebrations ongoing after that Superpole race for our podium trio. Toprak, Razgat Lioglu, Sam Lowes and Alvaro Bautista. For Bautista, that's now 3 consecutive podiums. It's the 120th for him in the 1000th race.
For Alvaro Bautista!
Alvaro, back-to-back podiums at Balaton, and this one in extraordinary difficult conditions. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, for sure. The conditions were very, very tricky, you know, because the track was not for wet tires, but was not perfect for slicks, no. So at the end, I didn't choose intermediate because I never used before. So the only choice was or wet or dry, no. And yeah, we decided complete wet. Dry. Yeah, the choice was the right, no. But in any case, I make some risking at the beginning because you know in the short race everybody's pushing too hard, no. So I took some risk at the beginning, and then when I saw that I was third, Toprak and Sam had a bit not risking more than me, but I saw that behind me was a bit far, so I just decided to just finish the race, and to do it in the podium in the 1000 race for Superbike is always good.
Congratulations, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty successful, Alvaro Bautista, to manage 120 podiums in 1,000 races, and obviously the vast majority has not been part of.
Yeah, for Bautista, since he came in 2019, we've been able to see all the success that he's had. But it's good to be able to see him able to battle it out here in Balaton Park as well, because it hasn't been like that at times this season. But for race 2, he's going to have a chance to be able to fight it out again at the front, in that front row of the grid. Toprak does have a margin over him, but you never know what can happen during the race.
Second place today goes to Sam Lowes, and after 3 retirements in the previous 4 races, it's a 3rd podium in the Superpole race format. The specialist over the 10-lap distance. We'll hear from him again.
Sam, another podium in the Superpole race and bouncing back from yesterday in extraordinarily difficult conditions. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was difficult. I made the call after the second lap to go with slicks. I felt like the track was quite dry, and luckily starting near the front, you can pick your line a little bit more. It was difficult, and nice to get through the first laps, make a bit of pace. I was trying to not push too hard after yesterday's crash. Then Toprak passed me, and he had a lot more speed, so I just sort of hung there for a couple of laps, and then he got a gap, and I had a gap behind, so it was nice to bring it home in second. But yeah, I thought it was going to be a wet day, so to get that race in is nice, and yeah, really happy with my pace I'm showing in a few different conditions, and yeah, let's see what we can do later on.
Fantastic result. Well
Cheers,
done.
Thank you.
Yeah, day that started wet at very least. Had it been full wet there, we could have been looking at a very different type of race. But anyway, in the end, Sam Lowes happy enough with that second position, knew that Razgat Lioglu was 1 step too far.
What's interesting there was when Sam said he did the siding lap and immediately came to the grid and said slicks. He was the one that made that decision, and that shows a lot of confidence. I don't think last year he would have had the confidence to say this is what we're doing, particularly after the 2 crashes, Donington race 2 and the crash yesterday. It'd be very easy to almost cede that decision to the team, but he took charge of it.
Yes, and the result is there for all to see. Fine second place, and again, Superpole race, brilliant performer over these 10-lap sprints. Second in Assen, 3rd at the UK round last time out, and now 2nd here in Hungary. He's just waiting for that final step on the podium. But it's Toprak Razgatlioglu who takes it today, winner of the 800th, the 900th, and now the 1000th race in World SBK history.
Toprak, they made you work hard for it, but you are the winner of the 1000th race in World Superbike history. How does it feel?
Yeah, for me, very special day because before I did 800 and 900 win, and this one is very special day for me. And normally I'm not crazy happy the SuperpoleRace, but this time for me is a very special day. I'm really happy for that. And yeah, generally we are work very hard, and we did again a win. But now I am looking race 2 because if I win again, I will make a hat-trick. This is not my target. We will see the afternoon. Thank you very much.
Brilliant job, well done.
Yes, he's quite right. The celebrations are obviously usually somewhat muted after a SuperpoleRace victory because the big business is race 2 in the afternoon, which is worth more than double the points. But on this occasion, with the special milestone, but also the fact that he had to work for the victory, he'll have enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and for Razgatlioglu, he'll obviously always focus on the hat-trick. That's always been the target for him, and you can only get the hat-trick if you win the first 2. That's why the SuperpoleRace is important for him. But for Toprak, again, you were able just to see that even though Bulik is all the way down the order, all Toprak wants to do is win. And he's not thinking about anything other than the rider that's in front of him and then putting them behind them. And that's why Toprak is always so worth watching, because he's never fit to settle. And that's what makes him intriguing.
Razgatlioglu then roaring away to victory. And it's an 8th consecutive win for Razgatlioglu, and increasingly looking in command of this championship. And my goodness me, you wouldn't have believed that after even Cremona, would you, where Nicolo Buliga was just extending that lead and bouncing back nicely from his misfortune in Assen. But the following 4 rounds after those first 4 have gone completely the other way.
Yeah, and certainly what we've seen for Razgatlioglu is that he's been able to figure out a way to feel comfortable with the BMW, and his team have given him a bike that allows him to feel comfortable. And now at this stage, he says that the bike feels great. It's able to do exactly what he wants it to do. And the change from last year's Super Concession chassis back to the standard chassis was something that was always going to be a question mark coming into those opening rounds. You knew that they'd figure it out, but the fact that they figured it out as quickly as they did to now be as dominant as they were last summer just shows how good of a job that Toprak can do, and also that his crew chief Phil Marin and the rest of the team can do. We heard from Phil about how much of a team effort it is, but there's also a reason that Toprak demanded that Phil would come with him to MotoGP. He knows that they've got that working relationship.
So, your podium trio in this 1000th race in World SBK history, the Tissot SuperpoleRace at the 2025 Hungarian round, and it's a 3rd place finish for Alvaro Bautista, so that's 120 podiums out of our 1000 races, and obviously his 227 starts. It's 2nd place for Sam Lowes, which is his 3rd podium, and all 3 of them in the SuperpoleRace format. And one wonders whether he can now get one in the feature-length race this afternoon to tick that box as well. And your race winner is Toprak Razgatlioglu. So that is podium number 161 in the championship, and his 71st victory. He is 2nd all-time for wins. I can tell you he's now 2nd all-time for fastest laps as well. So Director Gregorio Lavilla handing out the special trophy for the 1000th race in World SBK, and it's marked up as such. It's a modification to the Tissot SuperpoleRace trophies that we regularly see on a Sunday morning, and it is going to be Razgatlioglu who lifts it. And the trophy just being explained, the detail of it there with those past winners as well. Your 3-2-1, Alvaro Bautista, Sam Lowes and Toprak Razgatlioglu.